Yo, you made it. It's your favorite comic on the rise, back for season 2 of the Comedy Chatter Podcast. If you've been searching for a pod that talks all things comedy, as well as kicking with some of the dopest comics in the game, then this is the podcast for you. What up, good people? It's your man, Meldon Williams, here with another episode of the Comedy Chatter Podcast, Season 2, Episode 9, moving right along. You're now tuned into the dopest audio comedy pod from the perspective of a rising comic, rising comedian. That is me, still trying to do my thing and make my ground, stay in my lane and do what I do in terms of doing my stand-up comedy, man. Letting y'all know about my comedy journey, as well as interview other super dope comedians and learn about their comedy journey as well. No different. Things are going to be no different today because I got a really, really good guest for you guys this go around. You guys have seen him. You guys have heard him. He's done just about everything, man. He's a TV star. He's a film star. He also gets it in with stand-up comedy. You guys are going to love his story. The one and only Mr. Brian Hooks, man. As y'all can remember, Fat Beach, 3 Strikes. That's still my shit right there. I still watch 3 Strikes once a month because that shit is hilarious. So, yes, the one and only Brian Hooks, man. Y'all going to definitely enjoy this interview, man. I was on location in L.A. That's kind of where he lives and everything. And, man, I was able to, nail down an interview. And, man, he was cool people, too. Real cool people to let me go ahead and do an interview with him. So, you guys are going to enjoy that. Y'all know how I always do. I start out with my shout-outs. Mr. Roger Feeney, manager of the Ann Arbor Comedy Club, the guy that saw my vision and allowed me to, get the comedians and interview them there in the green room. That's my home club. For everyone that knows me, Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase, man, that's the spot. I can't wait to actually get back over there and, do some guest sets or some feature sets. That's coming up soon. Next up, my man David Pittman. David Pittman is my sound and editing guy. He's the guy that showed me how to make this thing happen, showed me the right equipment to get, showed me what it is I needed in order to make this podcast go. I wouldn't have this pod if it wasn't for Mr. David Pittman. So I always shout them out. Special shout out this time, though, and that goes to the one and only Bernard Bronner, man. I know you out there listening, man. Thank you so much, because he's actually the guy who hooked up this interview for me, man. He's cool with Brian Hooks. They did a movie together back in the day. Bronner Brothers. For anybody who doesn't know Bernard Bronner, he's the CEO of, and I call him the king of hair care, because he's the CEO of the Bronner Brothers company, man. He runs the whole thing, him and his family. And I just wanted to go ahead and shout him out, man. Thank you so much, B. Bronner. You said you was going to come through. I know we've been talking for a while about me interviewing Brian Hooks, and you finally came through when we finally made it happen. So special shout out to you, big dog. I'll see you soon, too, man. All right, back in the day sponsor. For those of y'all who don't know what my back in the day sponsor is, people that know me, they know this pod is a labor of love, small type thing. This is I call it the little podcast that could. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to kind of gain some relevance with it. So with all that said, I don't have any sponsors. I hear everybody else, they podcasts, they got like sponsors and people paying them money and all that. Hey, that's not me. I'm just trying to get the content out there. So with that said, I told myself I need to come up with some sponsors that if they were in business today, then they would be the ones that sponsored me. But these are all just kind of back in the day sponsors because they're no longer in business. So with that said, back in the day sponsor this go around. Now I hear that they not out of there all the way just yet. But hey, it's coming down the pike, man. I heard they about to file like they second or third bankruptcy. And maybe next year we won't be hearing from them. But damn it, when we was young, when we was little, everybody, you going to try to perp like you ain't never been up in this mug, but I know you have. Pay less shoe sores. You could pay more, but motherfucking why? You everybody, you remember Payless now. Don't try to act like you don't remember going up in the Payless. Remember you used to go in the Payless in the mall and just start crying immediately? As soon as your mom walked you in there, you're like, ooh. Remember that? Because you knew, hey, them little hard-ass church shoes up in Payless, oh, man, it was the worst church shoes ever. Like, just hard as hell. Wasn't nothing ever comfortable in Payless, man. But see, hey, that's how it was, man. Your parents don't be having. If your mom had like multiple kids, Like, you had to go to Payless and get some shoes. Man, the shoes is expensive for like 3 or 4 kids. You know what I mean? so Payless was the spot. Then the gym shoes was always like the worst. Wasn't no Nike in there. It was like Psyches in there. You remember? Everybody remember Payless, man. Oh, dude. So I heard that they just about out of here too, man. They finally, filing that second bankruptcy. Usually when you file that second bankruptcy, that's it. So yep, I heard that Payless is finally starting to close down, man. So that's my back in the day sponsor. Everybody can try to act like they ain't never been in Payless, but damn it, I used to run into some of y'all up in there. Like we used to look each other in the eyes when we was in Payless, both crying tears. So that's the back in the day sponsor this go around. Payless Shoe Source. You could pay more, but why? That was the slogan. Damn. Oh man, yes indeed. Crazy. Any doctors in here? Any doctors? Those fucking weirdos. No, seriously, man, I can't take doctors. Man, I've been going to the doctor lately, man, trying to get myself together. Boy, oh my God. How much piss and blood do they really need? That's what I'm gonna... Oh man. They go to school 7 years just so they can get piss and blood. That's all they want. I mean, what do they do with this piss and blood? I'm starting to think all doctors are vampires and perverts. Am I right? What am I chatting on today before I get into this interview? I mentioned it earlier in this pod, just maybe minutes ago, about staying in your lane, and that's kind of where I want to go and chat about. There's 2 comedians that stick out to me when I think about that whole like staying in your lane thing. And we all know what that really means. That's like a new little slogan that everybody says, but it's pertinent to me with this whole stand-up comedy game, because there's so many comedians now, you know what I mean? I can remember maybe 20 years ago, maybe 20, 25 years ago, there wasn't as many people saying, hey, I'm going to do stand-up comedy. There was like, people that was like, hey, I might be interested in that, this, and another. But now there's so many outlets. There's so many open mics. There's so many, there's social media. So with that being said, there's so many, let's say like people that are trying to, do stand-up comedy and be stand-up comedians now. And so staying in your lane is important. And so there's 2 comedians that stick out to me whenever I think about that. They both have some shit popping on IG right now that I love. Gary Owen, that's the first dude. Everybody knows Gary Owen, man. Not Gary Owens either. Like, I don't know why black folks are always trying to plural every goddamn thing. But we always want to make everything plural. Like, hey, Gary Owens. Like, it's not Gary Owens. His name is Gary Owen. And for those of y'all who don't know who I'm talking about, but I'm pretty sure you do, man, he's the white dude that dominates the urban comedy realm. And like he's been getting down for. I think he's like the only white dude that, if not the only, definitely the first white dude that hosts BET's Comic View. So man, he's on IG right now. He's got his own podcast. I think it's called Get Some, and he does these really, really good stories on there that I listen to every time. And he just basically tells stories about his comedy journey. I would love to have him on the show, by the way. Plug. But yeah, so Gary Owen, man, I remember him being on Steve Harvey's show, on his TV show one time, and he told this story about how he was at a Bernie Mac show when he was backstage. And, everybody was just kind of back there, kind of trying to be all floss, and everybody, hey, I'm backstage with Bernie Mac. And there was a whole bunch of would-be comedians and people just really flossing. And he said all he did was he just sat over on the side and ate M&Ms. He just looked at everybody. And he could slowly but surely see Bernie Mac just kind of get tired of this whole scene where everybody was back there at his show trying to floss. So Bernie started secretly, quietly, getting people out of there. Tell his bodyguard, hey, get rid of him. And after all those people was gotten rid of, he's like, Gary Owen was one of the people that stayed. He didn't bother Gary. He's like, yeah, you good. I know you. You know what I'm saying? And you're not back here flossing. You're just back here chilling. You see, eating up all my M&Ms, but that's cool. So that was a story that stuck out to me because it's like, hey, he ended it by saying, hey, and I just said that's the way I look at life. That's what he said. I look at life just like that. I just stay in my lane, do my thing, you know what I'm saying? And eventually I'll be okay. So, yeah. That stuck out to me because that seems like the kind of dude he is. I've heard so many people say so much shit about Gary, too, in terms, oh, man, this white dude, who he think he is, playing black rooms and black clubs and this, that, and the other. Hey, Gary Owen ain't never once got on stage and said, hey, I'm black and I want to be black and I'm this, that, and the other. Like, he just gets on stage. He does what he does. And he writes his material, what he finds funny. He tells you about his relationships. He tells you about his marriage. He's, in an interracial marriage. You know what I'm saying? He tells you about all that stuff and he makes it funny. But guess what? He ain't never not trying to be himself on stage. He stays in his lane. And that's why, hey, as of right now, you see this motherfucker popping. I mean, he's got a new Showtime special that's about to drop. Comedy special. Whenever you get the comedy special, dude, that means you hot right there. So Gary Owen, hey, congratulations to you, man. Congratulations. Continue to do your thing. He's been in all types of, movies, not Think Like a Man. Like he out there. He out there. So yes, I give him props. Second on that list is my man, Deon Cole. Deon Cole has been a favorite of mine for a while, man. I know a lot of people, know Deon Cole. He's another guy that's been grinding, staying in his lane, doing what it is that he does. You know what I'm saying? Never really trying to be anyone else. Always just trying to do his thing. You know what I'm saying? His right. I'm talking about really, really sick material, really material that only he could write. You know what I'm saying? His material is profound in the sense that, hey man, this is from my perspective, and that's what makes you special on stage. You know what I'm saying? Telling it from your perspective. He's been getting down for a while too, and he's got some sick shit on Instagram too that I follow called Deon's Roll Stories, and he tells some of the best roll stories ever. In terms of an up-and-coming comedian like me, I need to look at all that shit. I need to hear all that shit. All them stories. He told one about being in Alaska one time, and I was like, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? Deon, I'm going to let y'all check that out. Deon's Roll Stories on Instagram. If you're not following him on Instagram, follow him immediately. All you up-and-coming comedians, and watch all of the Deon's Roll Stories because they're really good. And, just stayed in his lane, man. Wrote for Conan, you know what I'm saying? Was in the barbershop movies. Deon Cole has been just one of those dudes that's always said, hey, I'm just going to walk in my truth. I'm going to stay in my lane. And look where it's got him. I mean, shit, he, on one of the biggest shows on ABC, Blackish. And now they done made spinoffs of it, Grownish, you know what I'm saying? And he a part of all of that. He doing movies. He done his comedy special, Cold-Blooded Seminar, which was hilarious. So those two comedians stick out to me when it comes time to, when it comes to talking about staying in your lane and being true to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Writing your own material and getting up there and being you and not worrying about what everybody else is saying. Oh man, he's funnier than him and he's this and that and why is he getting this and I'm not getting that? You never heard them talking that shit. They're just like, hey, I'm gonna do me, and hey, what is for me will be for me. That's the way they look at it, and that's the advice I'm taking. I'm just kind of saying, hey, I'm gonna keep on doing me. I'm gonna put out my content. I'm gonna do my podcast. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna hit these stages. If somebody will give me a guest spots, that's cool. I've started doing zanies in Rosemont in Chi-Town. Man, shout out to my man Dan Carlson over there who's booking. Me and him have been chatting and this, that, and the other. And I told him, I said, hey, man, I love your room. I love your spot. Keep on, if you invite me over there, I'm coming no matter what. So yeah, man, that's what I wanted to chat about this go around. Staying in your lane. I'm going to continue to do that. All right. Well, hey, without further ado, I'm going to keep this thing popping. Like I said, I got this dope-ass interview with my man Brian Hooks. He's going to tell you a little bit about his comedy journey. As I said, this cat done, jumped all up on, TV. You know what I'm saying? You saw him on the Eve show. He was in a whole bunch of other little things too that me and him talked about. Like one of my favorite shows, Cold Case. He was in an episode of that. He's been on Moesha. He done it all. Film, as I mentioned, Fat Beach. Three Strikes. He's in a Netflix movie now called Pierre Jackson. Check it out. He's going to talk a little bit about the whole, like, independent type joint, too. The fact that he, like, digs, like, the whole, like, hey, I like these independent films because I'm able to have more control. But that don't mean that he, hasn't been in the big ones either. Bullworth with Warren Beatty and Halle Berry. Fool's Gold with Matthew McConaughey. So we're going to talk about all that stuff, man. Without further ado, the one and only Brian Hooks, Comedy Chatter Podcast, Season 2, Episode 9. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Comedy Chatter Podcast, Season 2, Episode 9. I finally got him in the building. My man, Brian Hooks. What's going on, sir?
What's up, big dog? Chilling, man. Appreciate you having me here.
Oh, man, I appreciate you coming. I've been trying to get, like, we just got done laughing about it, trying to get at you for a while. Shout out to Mr. The hair care king himself, Mr. Bernard Bronner. I know he gonna hear this and crack up. But I said I've been trying to get him for a while, and eventually we finally got him, man. So how long you known B?
Forever, man. We known each other for a while. We did a film together called Laughing to the Bank.
Okay.
Very small film that turned into something really cool. Got bigger. We had a theatrical release, and so he's my partner in crime when it comes to film. So
definitely.
That's my man, and him, it's Bronner Brothers.
Yes,
baby. You know what I mean?
Like all
King,
the way.
King of Atlanta.
King B. That's what I call it. Yep. So we're gonna get into that definitely, man. I'll start off kind of how I, I guess it's a story to tie together of how I first kind of got hip to you. Uh-huh. But to be honest, I never saw you do stand up.
Word.
Never saw you do stand up. I jumped on you. I think probably with everybody, a lot of other people with Fat Beach.
Oh yeah.
So I jumped under that, and I was saying, "Oh, this dude's hilarious." But I never saw you do stand up. Bernard Bronner calls me one night in Atlanta and say, "Hey man, my boy B Hooks is doing Uptown." Uh-huh. He's like, "Get up here." Uh-huh. I was like, to say less. Uh-huh. So I get up there, man. We get in, man, and we see you, and you slaughter the place. And
Thanks,
I'm like,
Doc.
what? I was like, man, because I'm just like, when you just see somebody doing one thing, you never knew. So I didn't know that you started a stand up.
But that's the thing, I didn't start in stand up.
Tell me.
I did not start in stand up. It was just all my acting was comedic acting, and then I had the natural, gift of timing. Mm-hmm. So people assumed that I had a comedian background. I had even some of my peers who know me forever swore that I did stand up. They just, assumed that was the assumption, but I'd never done stand up. Okay. And everybody, some of my peers have been telling me like, "Yo, gotta hit the stage." Well, I don't, as you know, I have a big background in independent filmmaking, and so with the stand-up, I never wanted to do it half-assed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to go out there and just steal promoters' money. You know what I'm saying?
That's important.
And so I wanted to make sure I had the time to build up and get it right. So finally, when I was ready, which has probably been like only 4 years now.
Okay.
I started to really grind and sort of build out an act and get comfortable on the stage and figure out what I was supposed to be doing up there. You know what I mean? Because there is a goal when you out there. It ain't just, you know what I mean?
Skill to it.
Do whatever you can to get a chuckle. And so I was building with that, man, until finally I hit the road. So it was an evolution to where I had all the tools, but I had to do the homework and figure it out because, I wanted to be looked at in a different way other than, somebody just up there just trying to roll off for the TV credits and movies that I've done.
Exactly.
And I think anybody who's seen my show sees just that. But with Uptown, that was interesting because we had the one show. I think first we get there and they shooting Love and Hip Hop. I'm like, what the fuck? What kind of shit? My man said like, it ain't like this crowd. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I get up there and he's shooting a TV show. Oh, I'm like, whoa,
they
so
didn't
hot?
tell you.
Nothing.
Oh,
nothing.
Man.
I'm like, how does this work? Like, what do we get? Anyway, so we did the show. Show was amazing, man. Then we did the next crowd, man. They was like, at that point, it was 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Like,
Uptown,
man. I just came to take this girl so I can get laid.
Yeah.
Hurry it on up.
Hey, Uptown, they don't play around. They got another club in Atlanta now too called the Atlanta Comedy Theater.
Yeah.
Oh man, they even work. Their show started at 8:00. Hey, you won't get in till 9:12. And then that's when they sit you down.
Right.
And then by the show start about 10. Yeah. And like you got to do the next one.
Yeah, I'm like, 2 hours in, he's ready to go. Yeah.
Very true.
But it was dope, man. Atlanta was dope, man. Mm-hmm. So that's crazy.
Good spot. Good spot. Yeah. I've been living there for a while now, man. I'm originally from up north, or from Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So are you still hitting clubs?
Still hitting the clubs, man. I'm heading out to Killeen, Texas. Twice as Funny Comedy Club, I think it is, in September. About to do KC, and I think I forget where else, man. But I'm still out there, man, on my little reintroduction tour.
All right,
so I'm going out and hitting the pavement, man.
I'm gonna check that out definitely. All right, so we went back a little bit, but I always kind of ask the guests this: take me back to like your first. Like you said, you wasn't stand up. You said you was, but just maybe your first laugh or your first audition. Maybe your first audition, like
my first,
it's kind of like what you had to do way back in those days.
Yeah, it was crazy because I came from Bakersfield, a small town, and it's only, you know what I mean. And I was always sort of, lively, class clown type of thing. But in Bakersfield, it ain't much you could do. Small little country town.
Yeah.
But once I came up to Los Angeles, it's L.A., so the opportunity was there, and I was in college at the time. So long story short, I started banging away outside of school to get my feet wet.
Yeah.
And I sort of jumped quick. I did a number of smaller little things, plays, independent films, student films, so on and so forth. But then through the Drama Log, which is now Backstage West, where they have stuff in there to where you can look, and it's like small productions, independent productions going on, and you submit yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I did for the movie Fat Beach.
All right. Okay.
So Fat Beach was written by Doug Ellen, who created Entourage, with my man from Lean On Me and Juice, Jermaine Huggy Hopkins.
Yep.
And so that was like my first big audition. And so I went in there, man, and auditioned. They liked me. Did a callback. Like if they like you, they call you back. They want to see you again. So audition again, got another call back. Audition again, got another call back.
I heard
so I had to go in there like 6 times, and finally on that 6th time, they gave me a role, man. They gave me the role, Fat Beach.
Yeah.
And that sort of changed the tone for me because that was it was a lead, and I was young and raw, man, and I dove into that role, and it's a character that everybody remembers because, Darrell was a total fool.
Classic.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We still laugh at
that,
bitch,
man. And so it was it was a hustle, but it was a lot of auditions before that. But the good thing, with audition, and they say the game is difficult, and it is, but if you stepping in the room doing good work, whether you fit that role or get that role or not, it's still a positive because they'll keep calling you back. They'll keep calling you back, and one will stick, man. But you just have to be persistent and be on top of your game. You know what I'm saying? But the Fat Beach sort of kicked it off, and then from there, a number of other things opened up, man.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's where I was going next. You read my mind, but we already talked about. Okay, so Fat Beach, 1996. That's what that was. So 1996.
I was 13.
So what was going on with Brian Hooks then in 96 going to get that Fat Beach? Like, what was your mind? Your mindset was just straight.
Man, I was so raw and so hungry, man. Like, I didn't have any doubt that I wasn't gonna get the role.
All right.
So I was just so fresh and new. But But don't get me wrong, it wasn't like, he got a great mindset. I was just so green. That, you know what I mean? I was just so green, and raw. I didn't know no better. I was like, this is my joint. You know what I'm saying? Which probably helped.
That probably helped.
And I remember I had my little white Nissan Sentra at the time, man. And I was in school at Cal State Northridge. You know what I'm saying?
Hilarious.
And so I drove there to this audition. It was right across the street from the Beverly Center. And I remember at the time I was bumping Little Bruce, this little, the hood artist from out the Bay, man. I was bumping Little Bruce all day. I was amped, man. I was ready, man. And I just went in there, man, and I smashed it. And I think I was just so untrained that they was like, this role, him right here. You know what I mean?
That's the kind of energy we need. That's the energy we need.
So it stuck, man. But it was like the perfect storm. Everything come together, man. It was a blessing because here we are, however many years later, and Fat Beach is still talked about, and I'm about to do a sequel to it. Not that I'm writing and producing it. I won't be starring in it. Mm-hmm. Maybe just a little role, but for the next generation.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. See, that's another thing, too. I love interviewing y'all on this because I was going to ask that at the end, but like, what y'all got popping? They always tell me something that's about to come out that I learn about first. So like, oh, man. So, it's Fat Beach, the sequel, Now, getting to the next thing, the next cult classic you had, which was my favorite. I watch this shit probably once a month, so I can cry laughing. So I can cry laughing. Three strikes. Oh man, y'all killed me in that. Yeah. Like literally, it was one of those movies too, where you don't almost like they got Netflix now, where you just kind of be like, because I didn't hear about it. It wasn't no big like, oh man, we got to go to the movies. I just probably like turned that to a DVD or whatever. Yeah, man. To this day, I got it at the crib. I hit that movie is hilarious. Tell me about working with David Allen Greer, who was in it, which was hilarious. Yeah, Mo Neat, Mike Epps, Faisal Love. You gotta tell me about the experience of y'all being up in that thing together. Yeah,
the thing is, man, I always forget, man, that how many of us were in that joint, man. But it was, Three Strikes, another thing, you know what I mean? DJ Pooh was coming on Fridays where he co-wrote with Ice Cube, and this was his first joint, man, and they were just looking for somebody raw, you know what I mean? And at that time, I think originally it was Chris Tucker was supposed to do that role, man.
Okay.
And, but Chris was coming off the Fridays, and then he went to
the stratosphere,
his schedule and all that stuff wouldn't permit.
Gotcha.
And so the road was open for the taking then.
There you go.
And then again, I stepped in, went in the room and did my thing. And I think it was that rawness. I think, when I think good filmmakers and good producers look not for, especially if it's a film, if they're smart, for someone who could come and shook and jive, and someone who tries to make every line funny, try to find a joke. You know what I mean? You in the funeral, you trying to find a joke. Like, the mama dead, nigga. Exactly. More than this scene.
Exactly.
More than this scene. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Wouldn't it be funny if I farted when I got to the casket? Nigga, no. Nigga, just stick to. And I think that's what I have our ability to do, to find that fine line with the comedy, as well as, keeping the real moments real. And I think with Three Strikes, I think that's what DJ Pooh saw, and I think that's why people take to that movie. It wasn't just, me, cooning and trying to be funny every single sentence.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
We felt for my band.
You know what I mean? Like, and then with that, you know what I mean? It, once you watch it over and over, you see little spots and little nuggets that are funny. But I think because it was made by Pooh and real, and I think that's why people, is drawn to it so much instead of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
that's a good point. That's a good point because, like I said, I don't, you watch it that often. You're not just, I'm about to laugh. Like, of course I'm going to laugh, but you felt for my man. My man got out of jail, and then homeboy picked him up.
And stole the car.
And I was just like, damn, like, who would, that would be the worst for anybody.
Yeah.
Here he is.
So it was just like, you know what I mean? And that's something that got, a theatrical release, a small theatrical release, did $10 million at the box office, went on DVD and went crazy.
And it's just, crazy.
However many years later, still in rotation, man. And that as well, Rob's about to get paroled in 2020.
Oh, he about to go? Oh,
yes,
man.
I will be starring in that one. So.
It's on. All right.
So we're putting all the pieces together now,
right. Oh, man. That's what we already know I'm going to be front row for that one. Then.
Yeah,
it's
man.
on.
It should be good.
So, now, like I said, you got the Three Strikes, and we got all those movies, but you done some stuff. From what I saw, I checked out your IMDb. I mean, like, you done worked with some powerhouses, man. Fool's Gold, am I right?
Yep.
So that's McConaughey, Hudson, Bullworth, Hadley, and Warren Beatty.
Yep.
So you got to talk about like some of those, working with some of those.
Like my foundation has been independent filmmaking, and I love that. But I have been fortunate enough to be able to step into the arena on some of these bigger studio films, man. And, you know, it's a dream come true, man.
Exactly.
And, again, like you said, Matthew McConaughey, Kate Hudson,
Halle
Kevin
Berry.
Hart, Donald Sutherland.
That's still my one to this day.
Yeah.
I don't care what nobody.
You know,
they can have all these dudes.
Yeah. Warren Beatty, Isaiah Washington, Lou Myers, Halle Berry.
Hell of a list.
And so, you know, that was always amazing, man. It was an amazing experience with Fool's Gold. We went to Australia for like 7 months.
Really?
7 to 8 months, man. Had to learn how to scuba dive.
Yeah.
And basically just lived over there and shot this film, a $90 million Warner Brothers film, man. So,
man. That's living the dream.
Yeah, that's an experience, man. So I've seen both sides of it and been pretty fortunate, but I will say, man, my love for independent filmmaking probably outweighs that, man. Because it's just something about, at least for me, like I'm a business person, and then the ownership and the creative and the group of people coming together, not because you got, a few $1 million to pay them, because like Brian, my man, not fool with him.
Yeah.
So you have a group of people there on favors, or because they believe in the project. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And come together, and you turn out something that people dig.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's just
the magic in independent filmmaking is way. Like you said, I can just throw $90 million at McConaughey and all that. But you making magic. I can't wait to see Eddie's Dolomite. Because that's basically him talking about the story of my man Dolomite. I feel you on that.
So it's been a blessing on both sides, man.
Cool beans. Now we got to get to your TV too, because I know them residuals still coming in from what's my show?
Eve. Yeah.
Oh my God, love. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like Eve was always like the pit bull and the skirt.
Yeah.
Now I was just like, okay, whatever. She got on that, and she was the sexiest dog. Boy, I used to watch that show. Like Eve was bad as hell. I had no idea she was that gorgeous. And yes, that show was hilarious. You were I think we're talking about sitcoms. Y'all did that sitcom perfectly.
Yeah, it was
perfect.
Meg DeLoach was the creator of that show, and we just had some amazing writers on that as well. Anthony Hill, and they really had a great. There was a lot of writers, other writers as well, but they had a great rapport led by Meg, who is just really, really brilliant. Like she has a show, Family Reunion on Netflix now.
Okay, that's her. Okay, I'm watching that.
She's just so creative, and then the cast that they put together, like. We would work 10 hours on set and then go hang out for another few hours.
That's
and
the way
that
y'all
doesn't happen.
Yep,
usually once you finish work, boom, you shoot out in other directions. Even if y'all cool, which a lot of times that energy you spending that much time to people, they aren't cool. But we were really cool, and I think that showed on
that
camera
show.
We really like hanging around each other and being with each other. You know what I'm saying?
That show, man, that's the reason probably why I'm saying that they did the sitcom seemed so perfectly well done. But I had a whole lot to do with y'all's chemistry, man. So I believe that. And then a lot of times you say, like we just mentioned, the star of the show usually get the whole like they their own trailer, they by themselves, get everybody else get away. It seemed like she was right there with y'all, and y'all was chilling.
What we doing after we wrap? It's like we tired. We going, let's just go next door to the such and such, and we all hug and kick it. And like I said, it started from Eve and trickled down. You know what I mean?
That's big.
She came. It was like, I think it was like her first really acting thing like that. It's definitely leading the show as sitcom. That was out of her element, not what she was known to do. But she came and she rocked that, man. And then Allie Landry, Natalie, Jason.
All of y'all. It was perfect.
Sean, it was a good group, man.
It was perfect. It was perfect. Now, so you've had success, and like I said, and we talking about the films, TV as well, man. So the Eve, I can remember you being in an episode of one of my favorite shows, man. This was probably one of the best shows ever. They need to put it back up. A Cold Case.
Oh, Cold Case, yeah,
dog.
Yeah.
I still watch that on Ion today. Yeah, I was like, man, this show was so good. How they used to make them people like flashback, and then they catch them at the end. Dog, so you've done a whole lot of like I said, like Moesha. You've done a whole lot of like TV
on the dramatic
too.
side and whatever, exactly. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Now what's the difference
when I need to?
exactly. Now what's the main difference in your opinion from TV film? Like just kind of showing up that day. TV showing up that day for film. What's your mindset?
I think with TV, it used to be different. TV was much more cookie cutter.
Okay.
It was much more with TV. There's really no room for improving and making the character so much your own. TV is very controlled. Like the lines have to be precise. They have to be dead on. When with film, you know, you have your lines, but you can get there and feel a certain way and chop it up with the director and something, you know, the same thing comes out, but in a whole different other way. But with TV, they're very specific on the words, how you say it, when you say it. It's just much more structured. Now, that said, TV has evolved since the Eve show to where now you see some TV and it's like, you know, dope movies, you know what I'm saying? So it's a bit more different, but normally TV is a much faster pace. It's much more strict and confining. Like you have to stay in this narrow lane. With film, they let you get out there and dribble between your legs, pass behind your back.
And then they tell you, hey, we'll keep some of it and not keep some of it.
And they do a couple of different takes and sort of, you know, see what feels good. So
and now is it me or they cussing on TV though?
Yeah, that's why I said it's evolved, man. So it's like it's really graduated and they push the line and they're able to say more, they're able to do more. You know what I'm saying? And so it's completely evolved, and that's why you see a lot more. Back then, big name stars didn't want to do TV for those reasons. It was too. I couldn't show me, but with film, you could do that. You know what I mean? So, but now TV is so aggressive that a lot of stars are attracted to that. Because a lot of the dope material are like these characters are so crazy. They gravitating towards that. It's like, what? I kill for a living?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At night, and then in the daytime, I'm a pastor? You know what I mean? It's just so crazy. It's attractive to them. So that's why you're seeing that now.
Very true. Very true. All right, man. Well, I always kind of ask everybody this kind of wrap it up. Who are you fanning on right now? Like basically any comedians out there that's real dope to you, any TV stars that's real dope, somebody that you like to work with, this, that, and the other. So we're starting with kind of comedians that you think are funny now.
Comedians, man. I've always been a big fan of Chris Rock. Yes. Like I like a lot of the best. Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy.
Okay, I've been watching his
huge fan
Netflix
of Fluffy. Other than that, man, I hit the clubs and I see all this young talent. Some of names I know and some I don't. And I'm just a student and a fan naturally of the arts. So I'm always entertained.
Okay,
and I'm always entertained. But if you was like, you can go see one show. Who is it, man? It would probably be Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy. Man.
Okay.
I really dig that dude, man.
Yeah, he is hilarious. Yep. I was happy to see that he had they trying to get him a show.
Yeah.
And so he's definitely funny. Definitely funny. Any actors and this, that, and the other you thinking about? Like, man, I would love to work with them right about now.
Actors,
TV
man,
or film.
Yeah, TV and film. Actors, man, that's like there's a lot of people who I dig as well. You know, I still, you know what I mean? Like, I'm an old head, so I still, you know what I mean? Like, I never have done anything or been around with Denzel. So I would absolutely love to get down with him. But if I had to pick one, it'd definitely be Eddie Murphy, man.
Eddie
is a vet, you know what I mean? Like, to be able to be in, like, a Dolomite or Coming to America 2 or some of those things coming up would be a blessing. But, like, if it was, like, one person, man, that would be easy. It'd be Eddie Murphy. Man.
Easily, I understand that, too. I understand. Hey, well, man, like I said, I never want to take too much of nobody's time.
Good, man.
I always just appreciate y'all for doing this because, like I said, man, I got this little podcast that's trying to come up out of nowhere. Yeah. But whenever I get dope guests like yourself, I appreciate y'all for coming and giving me the time.
All
so
good,
thank you
man.
very much.
For sure, man. Anytime, boss, man. And I'm sure I see you out there in the clubs, man.
You definitely will.
Be sharing the stage soon.
You definitely will.
Oh, man.
Cool. Yo, thanks so much for checking out the pod. A very special thanks, and I mean a very special thanks to my guest this go around, Mr. Brian Hooks. Make sure y'all check out his Twitter and his IG for future show and date info, as well as big things coming around the bend as far as television and film. Make sure y'all check out another episode of the Comedy Chatter Podcast for another dope headlining comedian and of course me, Meldon Williams. Y'all make sure y'all keep listening, subscribing, and supporting. Y'all be good to yourselves and be good to each other. Peace out.